just went over the progressions of the forehand ground stroke. Not that you're not going to use them, you probably use pieces of them throughout. I just don't think you're going to go through the progressions of the forehand, but it's good to know them and understand them. I really believe the instant tennis, what we've gone over in the past 2 lessons, and then what we're doing also in this lesson to start off, is the instant tennis. I really think you'll get the most success from doing that. I use it in my camp, and I have huge success getting the kids playing a version of tennis right away. So there are some skills that we did in warm-ups and things like that that I'm not sure that you know how to do. If you do, great. If not, here they are. The first one is ups. I think we started off tossing the ball underhand. When you add the racket, you want to hit the ball at 6 o'clock and just tap it up, okay, right from here. All right. The next one was downs, and again, using the reference of a clock, we're going to be kind of dribbling the ball down at 12 o'clock. So you're just going to hit the ball down, okay? The next one, which I could probably do all day because it really replicates play, the rhythm of hitting the tennis ball, is the bounce up. And that's where you start with an up, let it hit the ground, and then tap it back up again. And we just keep going right through that. And that's a bounce up. And it's really hard for me to stop doing that because I really enjoy doing it. All right. Then when you took that into the instant tennis part, you did the bounce up, and then you brought in a target where you had to, by yourself, try to hit this big target. Okay. All right. And then we brought in a partner. The partner would be across from you, and I would hit, and then my partner would hit, and we'd be trying to aim for this ball, just going straight up, and they would hit, I would hit, they would hit, okay, back and forth that way. Then the next progression was getting 2 balls and having 1 ball at the double sideline and 1 ball at the single sideline. All right. To get them lined up properly, I would have them straddle their ball, kind of be behind them, straddle the ball, and then reach up and touch faces of the paddle together. So it's almost like their hands are touching here. We just want the racket faces touching. And then we want them to back up behind the ball, because as we learned earlier, and this is why I did it in the drills to build skill, why we did a lot of underhand tossing with the kickball, was the kid knows not to come and stand right at the target. But if I'm aiming for a target, the ball's going to come back, it's going to bounce, and then it's going to come back to me. So if I hit this ball up and it comes in, it's going to bounce, and it's not going to go straight up, it's going to bounce back. So that's why I do a lot of that drill building, to get them used to tracking the ball and how to catch it properly, and then send it back properly. So we would be here, we'd be trying to do our point of contact, little follow through, and make sure we get our footwork done. This is the most important part of the stroke. All right, so we're going to do 10 in a row here. All right, then from there we would take our balls and we would set them up over the net. Let's pretend this big ball is the net. I would put our racket down, and we would be right here, put the ball at the end of the racket, pick our racket up. Again, line up the racket head behind the ball if we needed to reach up and touch racket faces to make sure we've got that good grip and we're all lined up. And then we would go 10 in a row here, okay? And then a practice task that you can do, very similar to the serving practice task that I had you do. Once they get 10 in a row from in here, we would then back up about halfway between the net and the service line, okay? And we would be right here, 10 in a row, all right? Then we would move the ball back to the service line, hit again, 10 in a row. The younger the student, the earlier you can probably introduce the backswing. Adults don't use a full swing from the service line. You do, you're hitting the ball probably out. There are some advanced strokes, but that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about beginner route tennis. So service line, you can probably start introducing the backswing. I don't think I would yet. But anywhere between the service line and the baseline, you can absolutely. And that's something where you can, this is where knowledge of the progressions will help serve you well. So you can go through the progressions. Okay, great. You guys know pointed contact and follow through, the footwork, pointed contact and follow through. Well, as I demonstrated a long time ago in week 1 when we were going over the forehand ground stroke, I actually, remember I had a back swing, okay? So I'm going to have you guys work with your partner, and you're going to do that now. So you're going to start in a ready position, you're going to shoulder turn, racket back and down, and you're going to get your feet moving, and you're going to bounce, tap the ball to your partner. Your partner will catch the ball, and then they'll do it. Shoulder turn, pivot, racket back and down, they'll bounce, tap it back to you, you'll catch. Do that 10 times total, 10 times each. Whatever you think is going to get them to be successful. Because the real important thing about this is you're doing the shoulder turn, racket back early, before that ball even gets to the net, and as it's crossing the net, as it's approaching the net, it's shoulder turn, pivot, as it's crossing the net, racket back. You're moving the ball, dropping it down, contact to follow through. And the progressions, yes, we do shoulder turn, racket back and down, so you can get the idea of this C stroke, okay? But in reality, it's shoulder turn, racket back, and you move to the ball with the racket back, drop it down, and swing, okay? But that's for you to know, not your students. They'll get it, all right? So once they finish the shoulder turn, racket back, self-feed to their partner, and they catch, now let's see if we can play big-time tennis. So it's shoulder turn, racket back, I'm going to hit, my partner's going to hit right away, okay, right back to me. And we're right here, and we've got a little rally going, okay? And that's basically your forehand ground stroke lesson, okay? And it's probably going to take you, I don't know how long your tennis segment will be. If you don't get to taking the racket back, no big deal. I mean, like I said, the most important part of the stroke is pointed contact to follow through. You can play a lot of mini tennis doing that. You can even extend the baseline back behind the service line a little bit, but if you get too far, then you're going to have to introduce the backswing. It all depends on the ability level of your students. And I wish you well with it, and you can always contact me because I love to help you in this. All right? Thanks.